Ladies and gentlemen, Bethesda and Arcane, in conjunction, are releasing a standalone DLC to end the Dishonored universe. Find out our thoughts and more to follow.
Quack, quack.
Why didn't he duck? Why didn't he duck, Pete?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Why didn't he duck?
I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to find out what we're talking about, please tune into our live show that just aired this previous Sunday. I know you're finding this out on Thursday. But tune in. It was a hell of a ride. We had a lot of fun.
Time warp.
We had a lot of fun. Ladies and gentlemen, today's episode is about Dishonored's Fall of the Outsider that Arcane is releasing in conjunction with Bethesda. It's a standalone DLC, which is very much like First Light. And I want to posit this question to you, and I know Pete hates when I use that word. What does this mean for the future of DLC and kind of how they relate to the game content? Are we going to see more of this in the future where people are, or publishers are pushing for this standalone DLC that they're trying to release as a one-time purchase to end or to fix up things? Because we saw this somewhere else as well, didn't we? Help me out, Pete. There's somewhere else that we saw this. First Light was one.
First Light. Even you can argue with Uncharted, Lost Legacy.
Red Dead Redemption.
Red Dead Redemption, we saw this as a DLC where, well, it wasn't standalone,
The Undead Nightmare was.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's an interesting fact because with this happening, it could start something that could not be problematic, but very interesting. We know that when Uncharted 4: A Thief's End came out, there was talks about DLC, a single-player DLC. But Naughty Dog always does things big, so they end up flushing it out with Chloe and Nadine, and they actually made Lost Legacy, which is around, arguably, 6 to 9 hours. Mm-hmm. But depending on how you play, it's a glorified DLC. It's only $40. You know, it's not a full-on Uncharted, quote-unquote, a full Uncharted game. But it's something interesting where it's like, okay, Uncharted 4 came out last year in April. Now you have Lost Legacy coming out a year and change. And now you have Dishonored 2 coming out last year, and now The Outsider coming out for standalone 2 coming out this in October. I'm not sure of the date, but I believe it comes out in October. So it's interesting because Uncharted I'm all right with because it's a separate story from Nate and Sully and the main people. It's following Chloe and Nadine, you know, as they go for the Tusk. It's cool. What I'm interested here is that The Outsider is completing the story of Dishonored 1 and 2. They're attacking the Outsider.
Yeah.
Who is the focal, quote-unquote, villain, in quotes, I want to say.
I get what you're saying.
I don't want to give too much away, but, quote, you know.
The Puppet Master. Why don't we call him the Puppet Master right now?
Perfect. The Puppet Master. You know, so it's interesting that they're having this DLC, which, you know, everybody loves Billy as a character, you know, and it's going to be cool. You played as Corvo the first year. You played as either Corvo or Emily. Now you're playing as Billy. You know, but to have this DLC, which we don't know how long the DLC is. It's $30, but is it worthy enough to end the story of the Puppet Master, you know, and put a nail in that coffin so when Arcane inevitably does in Dishonored 3. Now, is that just, are they going to, like, in a weird way, are they going to go off that DLC? Because not a lot of people play DLC. They usually like the physical. It's a very interesting topic at hand.
Any thoughts, Joe?
1 second. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Do your thing, because I know you had something on your mind.
Oh, I have a lot of things on my mind, ladies and gentlemen. I think you know this already. All right? You already know that I am not a fan of... You guys are fucking ridiculous right now. You guys know that I am not a fan of DLC content, especially paid nonsense like this. Especially, you know, like I didn't play First Light, but I didn't like Second Son to begin with, right? Lost Legacy.
Not a lot of people did.
Yeah, Lost Legacy. Probably not going to play. Don't care. It's DLC.
I would give it to you, but I have a digital.
It's. I know it doesn't. Like I don't care. Like I'm not asking you to give it to me at all. I played the Uncharted.
You said that last night.
That's rude.
That's rude.
Shouldn't share private information with the public, sir.
Never.
So I don't want this to become a thing. I don't want
Okay.
this to be like, oh, we're just gonna try to ride the wave of this and see how far it can take us. I feel like they had something good with wow, really? Why can't I think of the name? Dishonored. They had something very good with Dishonored, and I think that they could have kept it going for a while, and hopefully that they'll keep it going. I like Corvo. You know what I mean? I want to play as Corvo. This is like a Metal Gear slip where like, oh, I'm playing as Raiden for some reason.
Naked Raiden.
Like I don't need to go through a naked Raiden experience all over again, right? Naked Snake was enough. Like I don't need to see another blonde running around doing cartwheels, half naked.
He was naked.
I mean,
not half naked.
He was half naked because his arms covered his body, so half naked. He was Borat naked.
That's your that's your Metal Gear trivia for the day.
So I don't want to see this happen and become a thing. Like I just make me a full release or don't. It's that simple, right? Like Lost Legacy to me should have been a full release, right? Like it's a spin-off. It's to me they sold it to me as a spin-off, not a DLC.
Yeah.
So why not just do spin-offs if you want these characters, right? I would like to see what happens to the outsider. What is his motivation besides like I just want to have fun? I don't like that. You know, I want to see more besides what it is that more to the outsider. So give me that story, but I still want the Dishonored, like the Dishonored series to continue. You see what happens to Emily. Now, there's so many opportunities to branch off and create so many different games off of these. Because now, right, when I'm thinking about Dishonored, it's like, well, now you can have an Emily-centric game, and now you can have a Corvo-centric game. They don't always have to be packed into one game.
Yeah.
One year you could release the Emily-centric game, another year you can release the Corvo. Now I know that that's not Bethesda's style. They want to fine-tune their stuff, but every other game could be a continuation of this other story, and they all tie together in some way, shape, or form. You know, where Corvo is developing his powers, and it's a whole different branch of different kinds of powers, and now you have this Dishonored. And I mean, there's so many ways that you could do it. You know, where it's like now you have multiple teams that are working on several different Dishonored games, right? The Outsider, Emily, and Corvo. I mean, I just feel like if you want to like ride the wave and make some more money, there's better ways to do it, and it might actually drive your sales better than like these standalone DLCs. I feel personally.
See, it's interesting because with Uncharted is I don't know how Joe feels, but I played Uncharted 4, loved Uncharted 4. And I was like, all right, I had my Uncharted fix. But now with Lost Legacy coming out, I was like, I could dip into this adventure, puzzle solving mystery. You know, we need to find the blue to do the blue to go here. You know, I could get behind that. The set pieces, everything. So I'm cool with that. You know, and same thing. Like it's cool with Dishonored in a weird way because it's like, okay, you know, I played on Dishonored 2. Not my favorite. You know, I enjoyed Dishonored 1 more, but this DLC coming out, this standalone DLC, I'm like, I can jump in for 3-4 hours, but it's upsetting because now. Are they going to rush the story of the outsider? You know, I feel like if it was a full-fledged game, it would be like, okay, let's take our time. Let's really, like, Billy could be her own character. People love her. The fans love her. So why not give her an actual full game? So in that regard, it's very upsetting because you're ending basically these two, Dishonored 1 and Dishonored 2, which are 11 to 13-hour games, you know, and then... Okay, here's a 3-hour DLC to wrap everything together. It's the same thing that happened with...
It feels like it's unjust. You're not giving the outsider the justice that he deserves because I feel like the outsider is a very mysterious character that we want to learn more about. We want to find out more about. And, you know, 3 hours isn't enough to tell us his story.
See, the interesting thing, and then we'll go to you, Joe, is I know it's not a fan favorite thing, but Assassin's Creed 3.
God damn it, Pete.
They had the DLC, The Tyranny of George Washington, and they did it in 3 parts. And that was good because it told another story. It didn't affect Connor to that crazy, you know, it's part 1, part 2, part 3. And it was great and very enjoyable how it was. And afterwards, it was like, okay, that was a part of the DLC. That was great. That was about 4 to 5 hours. That's perfect for DLC, you know? So the standalone kind of worries me because, I don't know. What are your thoughts, sir?
Well, like you said, as DLC, that was the same amount for a standalone now. And I believe the DLC was free on the Assassin's Creed.
I think it was free only if you got the season pass.
I know I got at least maybe it was the first episode might have been free then, but either way, if you're gonna
Probably
if
advertising.
if you're getting 3 hours of DLC for free or $10, spend $40 on a standalone or whatever. Not really worth it. Where I would go with that is like you were saying, branching off. Okay, you have this character, that character, that. The only thing I would think of that is if say you don't like a certain character, you're not going to buy the game. Whereas if they're all incorporated in one, you kind of forced into being that person or dealing with their story.
Yeah, but
So you could maybe they do like a Dishonored 2, like change a name and then make that the Outsider.
well, that's what I meant. It's like you have like Dishonored, you have Dishonored Outsider, Dishonored Emily, and Dishonored Corvo, where it's like Metal Gear, right? Metal Gear wasn't always called Metal Gear Solid. It was Metal Gear at first, and then they changed it to Metal Gear Solid. I think their plans were to continue a Metal Gear series that wasn't Metal Gear Solid, and the Snake character was such a strong character that they were like, okay, now we have options. So we have this timeline or this kind of storytelling, and then we can branch down on each of them. And I think that plan just kind of fell through. That's my interpretation of it, because the Metal Gear was Metal Gear, Solid. And then it became Metal Gear Solid, whatever comes next.
But then you have Metal Gear Rising, which had...
Completely non-canon.
Yeah.
That's
but
an
it's
alternate
still, it's a
universe.
side-
But you have the writing, that works. That works to I guess Pete was trying to actually defend me for once ever in this ever. What the fuck is going on here? But yeah, like you have Metal Gear Rising, where it's like, okay, this isn't part of that story.
It's not that universe.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with that, but here's this like cool idea that we had that we wanted to kind of extrapolate on. Raiden came back and he was a fucking badass, and everybody hated him before, and now it was like, holy shit, this guy's a fucking psychopath. This is the new ninja, and I like it. And they were like, here, play as the new ninja on your own game, and it has nothing to do. It's not tactical espionage. It is super fast-paced action.
But if they put out something like that, I'm not saying Metal Gear, but if say a game does that and you enjoy the franchise and they put out a game that you don't like, does that kill it for you? Because I kind of feel like some of the games, Assassin's Creed, once they advanced to a different thing, that it kind of killed it for me, and I haven't played Assassin's Creed since.
I gotcha. See, I think once you separate, like Kojima did, where they separated and they said, or Konami, I'm sorry. Konami did, where they were like, no, this has nothing to do with canon. We're just making this for the fun of it, and we want to see what you guys think of it. Not that it's ever going to take us anywhere, but we want to put this game out there because you guys responded so well to this character. We're putting a full-fledged game, and Metal Gear Rising was a good 9-hour experience, so it was a decent enough game where it was just like, all right, this is actually pretty fucking cool. And I can replay it and play it with like all the different, so the replayability on it was also decent, where it mimicked the replayability of Metal Gear Solid, where, oh, well, if you do it this way without getting caught, you get this wig, or you get this add-on, or you get the invisibility, or you get this, or you get that. So it was a pretty nice homage to the original while maintaining its own separate gameplay and dynamics and strategy, in essence. So I think it can be effective if you do it right and you distance yourself enough from it. Not saying, oh, this is bullshit, we're not doing this and blah, blah, blah. It's just, hey, this is a cool idea that we had, and we wanted to see if you guys liked it too. We're just going to put it out there and see if you... Not much is invested into it, but we like the idea.
Which is simple, like I said, and it comes back to Lost Legacy, because a lot of people love Chloe. Some people like Nadine, but it's something where it's like, hey, this doesn't have Nathan Drake. This doesn't have Sully, It's just something where it's like, hey, have fun with these characters. It's what you know, which is cool, which I do like. It's just...
I would prefer a more in-depth game experience. And that's my preference. Like I want a game. I don't want a DLC. I want a game. Like if you're gonna go off and do these like tangent kind of like spin-offs, make it a game. And make it a decent, like Luigi's Mansion can be considered a spin-off, right? Like it's not the main character of Mario, and it has something to do with Mario in a way. And so it's a spin-off, and it was a successful spin-off, and it worked because of that. Like it's nothing to do with Mario. This is Luigi, his brother, and this is his story. And Mario is trapped wherever, and Luigi has to be the hero. So I think it works if it's done the right way. But like anything else, it could always work if it's done the right way. But you have to give it enough distance where if it fails, it's not going to affect your brand.
It's not going to ruin your franchise.
That's to close on it. Evil Within did this, where you played as the main character, which I want to say is Constantine. I might be wrong. I apologize ahead of time. But the DLC actually follows the girl cop. And it's cool because it shows them interwebbing throughout the story, but she's dealing with her own shit. So it's like, cool. If you want to just enjoy Evil Within with, you have that option, but there's this cool little side thing. But they did it in the correct way, I feel, where she was a likable character. It was cool to see the stories intertwined because you're like, oh, how do they meet up at this certain point? How do they do this? But it's something where if she did her own thing, I don't think it would have had the... that's just a standalone thing. I think she wasn't as a popular character as Billy is what I'm getting at. Billy Lore, I think her last name is in the game, is a very popular character. And so I think they could have made a game off of it. I think it's wasted that it's just, we're ending the story and I see it being 4 or 5 hours tops.
Yeah. I would have preferred like a 13-hour experience, especially being that Billy also has these newfound abilities that we have no idea where they came from. So you got to explain that. You got to explain why she's going after the outsider. You got to there's a lot to explain as to why it is that this is happening, right? Besides the obvious, we got the end credit scene where, no spoiler alert, but blah 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 joins blah 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 and goes back to blah 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 her blah 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 ways, and then you get into this game and it's like, okay, but where did all these cybernetic machinery come from that's attached to her body? Like, you gotta explain that. Like, you're gonna explain that in the first 5 minutes? Her waking up in a laboratory and going after the outside. It's too short to really give me the kind of narrative that I want from this, right? Because the outsider is a pivotal part of the franchise, and we need an explanation, and we need it to be as clear and thorough as possible if you're going to try to end it.
With Horizon, the DLC coming out, that's perfect. It's $15. It's going to be a couple hours, and it's just exploring something you're curious about. Yeah. It's so I think that's the way. It's a very interesting thing.
But you see, me personally, I just don't like DLCs, right? Yeah. DLCs, they go into this territory of season passes and then pre-order bonuses, and all of a sudden everything is spiraled out of control, right? Fucking Call of Duty did it the first time, where it was DLC stuff, and then all of a sudden it became season pass stuff. And then all of a sudden, everybody started doing season passes. And then they started doing collector's editions and fucking pre-order bonuses. And it's just spiraled out of control. Stop doing the fucking DLC. Give me full games.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would go off of that is if you really like a game, when they give you the season pass, it definitely does save you money. But I've never bought a season pass.
I bought one.
I bought a couple.
I bought one. Destiny.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
Yeah.
With the amount of money you would have paid for buying each game, so
it
definitely
it saved money, but I never used it.
Yeah, I mean, and I love Fallout. I didn't get the season pass for that. Yeah. But then again, at some point, the games will go down in price. So
I got Evil Within Digital Deluxe with the season pass, but it was only $16. Then I could see, but as standalone, I would have not gotten the DLC for the season pass for Evil Within.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's our time today. As always, I'm joined by the host with the most, Mr. I'm Wondering himself, with the Kango cap in tow. It's Mr. Peter Anderson.
Thank you for having me on, Nick. It's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure to have you here, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
I appreciate it.
No
I'm
problem.
always joined with the best ponytail in the business.
It's fabulous.
The host with the toast.
I don't know what that means.
It's Mr. Nicholas De Jesus.
How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? And we're joined by our newest member of Improv Gaming, Jay Rush, the assassin of esports.
There we go. I'll take the esports.
There you go.
With the Fallout shirt on. What's up, everybody?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you saw, hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Make sure to hit that bell for the notifications. When our content comes out, it comes straight to you. And as always, game on.